Man, Beverley tweeted about an hour ago, quote, Chris Paul, emotions got the best of me last night, gang. My bad. Wasn't meant for you. Congrats on making it to the finals. Best of luck. I tried to hold back my laugh. Chris is back, but Acho, what do you make of Patrick Beverley shoving Chris Paul, gang?
Man, Pat Bev's shoving Chris Paul is the biggest punk move you're going to see in sports all year.
You went pee?
It is, with all due respect. With all disrespect. It's the biggest punk move you're going to see all year. Here's why. I love Pat Bev because Pat Bev understands his talent compared to the other NBA stars is limited. So what does he make up for it with? With hunger. What does he make up for it with? With tenacity. What does he make up for it with? With being a pest. But if you're the biggest pest in the NBA, how can you not take it when somebody else pesters you? Come on, Pat Bev. Biggest punk move you're going to see in sports all year because it was a calculated punk move. He snuck him, pushed him in the back, knowing good and well, worst case going to happen, I'm going to get ejected, but the game over anyway, say they don't need me. And also, if I get ejected, what's going to happen? I'm going to get fined. I can afford it. A calculated punk move is the biggest punk move, and Pat Bev's moves was the worst you're going to see all year in sports.
Man.
I'm with you, Acho. You know, he was frustrated. He knew the game was over. He knew the series was over. He knew their season was over. And Pat Bev's always running his mouth, right? And not just during the game, but in the offseason. Remember what he told Steph Curry when they got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? Oh, you had the last 5 years. We got the next 5 years. Well, here we are, 2 years deep, and y'all got nothing. And all of that is in his mind. He knows it. They not living up to what they were supposed to do. So he's frustrated. He shoves Chris Paul in the back. I get you being frustrated. But if you're going to step to somebody like that, step to him in his face. I'm not advocating a fight or anything, but step to him in his face. Like, say something to his face. To push him in the back like that, that's a straight up punk move. And we're fortunate that Chris Paul did not get hurt. I get it. It's just a shove. You're rarely going to get hurt from something like that. But Chris has told us last night he got a bad wrist that he had an MRI on, torn ligaments in his wrist. He already had a bad shoulder earlier in the playoffs. And you push somebody when they're not expecting it, it's worse because they're not bracing themselves for the push. He could have fell and hit somebody's knee with his face. Who knows what could have happened? But that would have been horrible. So, look, I've always said Pat Beverley is the epitome of that guy that you say you hate to play against him, but you love him if he was a teammate. And I felt that way about Pat Bev, and I was saying this all series long. Last night, his own teammates should have been ashamed of him. I hope they let him know, not to cancel him. He's still your guy, but just let him know, yo, man, that was weak. You better than that. You can't do that. I'm glad he apologized to CP3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up here, the Clipper fan in me was watching that live. And I'm watching it, and I immediately ran to justification and rationalization because I just couldn't believe that Patrick Beverley snapped without provocation. But then you watch the replays. Chris Paul didn't say nothing to that dude. Then you watch the replays. Chris Paul didn't even bump that dude. Then you realize what just was at play right there. See, Pat Bev likes to get under your skin, right? Now, here's the problem with trying to get under your skin as your tool of choice when you're playing sports. Just like when you grew up and there was a bully. Bullies hit first because they know deep down they ain't gonna hit last. That's why I was never scared of bullies. Because I knew that deep down you wasn't really about that life. That's why you out here starting stuff, because you ain't gonna end it. And Chris Paul nailed it. Chris Paul said, we broke him. And I knew he was going to break. I remember talking to a dog trainer. I'm a cat man, but I used to love dogs. And I remember talking to this dog trainer, and I had a little puppy, little moo-moo. And my dog trainer's like, all right, Marcellus, you're huge. Got to remember your proportions compared to this dog. So when you guys wrestle and play, make sure that you don't break them. And I was like, break them? What you mean? I ain't going to land on them, fool. He was like, no, don't break them. Don't break their will. And he was like, when you hear this sound, you broke their will. Pat Bev walked by Chris Paul. Chris Paul looked at that dude and then finally broke that will. And then you know what? When you're in that place, the only way to come back out is, even in a punk move, as you said, Acho, is to just come out scratching, clawing, fighting, doing whatever you can. He was almost in survival mode. So I'm mad at Pat Bev for one, letting somebody break your will, dog. That's the only way you play. But two, You gave up all the equity you had in terms of mind control over these dudes. Dudes were going to fear your defense next year. You thought that they always respected it. They were going to fear it, P. But you went out there and showed them, oh, you ain't for the entire race. You for part of it. You for the part of the perception. But in reality, you can't be broken. It disturbed me, man, as a Clipper fan, seeing my dog go out there looking like that.
That's a good take. That a little bit parallels to what I said about being a front runner. It's like Pat Bev.
Yeah.
Remember, Pat Bev crossed up CP3 early in the game. Crossed up CP3, went to the cup, finished at the right over the big, and then he was in CP3's face. Couldn't be better. And at the end of the game, when you're not ahead or not even close anymore, now you want to shove him in the back. What happened to all that barking? But I had to do some digging, y'all, and I remembered. Pat Bev started his career where? In Houston. Pat Bev wanted to stay in Houston so much so that he didn't even want to test the market in 2015 to go get more bread because he just wanted to be in Houston. Likely wanted to be in Houston for life. What's the reason he left Houston? Because CP3 got traded to Houston. So CP3 already uprooted Pat Bev from his home, and then he sent Pat Bev home. I think there was a lot at play behind just losing. It's also knowing that the only reason you left the one organization you probably wanted to stay at for life is because this man CP3 wanted your job, essentially. And then the only reason you going home and he's uprooting you from the NBA Finals is because CP3, again, imposed your will. Two of Pat Bev's biggest career moves thus far in his career, leaving Houston and not going to the NBA Finals, have both been at the decision and at the fate of Chris Paul. That's probably what broke him.
Damn. Deep.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And look, and I think the league should take some repercussions. I was talking to somebody earlier today from another team. They were saying they think he'll get suspended for the first 2 or 3 games of next season. I think it should be 5 games. I think it was that serious.
Yeah.
I mean, again, even though he didn't get hurt, that's just to push somebody in their back like that, man. That's just so weak. And you send a message to the rest of the league. Look, this is intolerable. You out for the first 5 games without pay. That's what I'd like to see.
I'm with you there, man. Let me just hammer 2 more points, man. The whole perception of Pat Bev just instantly changed. Like, he was becoming likable because of his tenacity. And then instantly, all that equity is gone. Be real. The difference between perception and reality, I give it to you like this. Remember when Mike Tyson was in his heyday, in his prime, coming out, cut up cloth, towel on, no socks? The perception was, this dude is indestructible. He's invincible. Then he got knocked out by Buster Douglas. And then everybody started coming at Mike Tyson like that. Don't believe me? Remember Suge Knight? Used to walk around these streets. What's up, homie? Death Row. Everybody, hey. I used to go to events. Suge Knight punked me one time. I'll tell you that story another time. Suge Knight show up, everybody dispersing. Wherever Suge want to sit, then we come back. That's how it used to be. Then Suge got tested. Somebody knocked him out in front of a club. Now, all of a sudden, people walk up with Suge all the time. They were just going at him, testing him. Pat Bev, why you giving up like that? Because you had that perception on lock. My last point is this. This is nothing new. This is what they call in psychology displaced aggression. Don't believe it? It happens to you guys at work as well. All you viewers out there, you ever go to work? Boss saying, do this, do that, throwing papers at you. Not thankful, no gratitude. And then you go home. Honey's like, the wife is like, hey, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? You hungry? Yeah, you know I'm hungry. Whoa, wait a minute. That's what this is, displaced aggression. WPB, we almost had it. Next year, though, we'll get right.